Sound of a train horn right there in the back. Good evening. Sorry, started a bit late. This evening, I was busy watching the H3 podcast, which ran long. I can't start until they stop. That makes sense, right? Do I cut my hair every week? No. My hair has not been cut. It's getting a little I mean, I have something in it to keep it from going crazy, but apart from that, no. Got you going on here. I got you going on here. I got you going on here. What is everybody up to? Good evening. It's kind of a slow start. Here, I apologize. I don't really apologize. I try to think of stuff, talk about every week, and sometimes I can't think of anything. And then the tally light goes on. My producer says, go. After. No, we'll take care of it after. I give the sign to my granddaughter, secret sign to my granddaughter. Bonus points to anyone who can call out who gives the secret sign to their daughter. I guess it was daughter, not granddaughter. Anyway, it's April 27th, otherwise known as day 11 of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. Day something, which I've watched some of. I've it. I've not processed it enough to share my opinion, to be honest with you. No, I don't have a granddaughter. This is a reference to somebody who used to say this is a secret sign to their granddaughter, but I think it was actually to their daughter, not their granddaughter. And these things aren't auto disappearing anymore. Did I ever talk to y'all about Money Heist? About I actually watched it, or I watched like a season of it. Watched about a season of it, and maybe I already talked about this, but I had yes, everybody. Carol Burnett is correct. That is right, Amy and Caron. I have not talked about watching Money Heist. Oh, I watched it. Of course I even made a short on it. I don't think the English subs are very good. Maybe they are, but it seems like the script was probably better. And something was lost in translation. But they do say heist a lot. They don't say money heist. They just say heist. And then I fill in the money part in my head. But I watched it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. Stylistically, pretty cool. What didn't I like about it, you might ask? It's one of those shows that seems to, and I feel like most shows have kind of grown out of this, but we already have downvote. Who's downvoting this shit? Don't be hate downvoting. I guess that's the only way to do it. If you like Elon Musk, I guess you would downvote. Anyway, I was of the opinion that the English dub is not great. The acting's okay, but it just feels like they got some of the words wrong. But it's also one of those shows where they keep introducing problems that they then solve within the show. So, like, they're sending people, now the cops are sending people underground to go in through the vents. And then the retort is always, that's exactly what the professor wanted. And he planned for it. So the start of every episode is felt to me like, okay, finally now they're going to get. I just heard an alarm. They're finally going to get to the people, get to the money heisters. And then, lo and behold, it turned out the professor was knowing what the police were thinking all along. And the super secret trap that the police were planning, now the professor turns to their advantage. And then also there's some infighting amongst the thieves. So I don't know. I don't know if I would watch a second series. You son of a bitch. I mean, I think I think it's a little more original than most of your typical assemble a team heist movies. I do like some of the characters quite a bit, but what do we got here? Y'all talking about Wordle? Is there a Wordle? Is there a good Wordle today? This is, yeah, people say, oh, wow, Olivia, that's awesome. I can barely process being a father. I've heard this before. I feel like the time has come and gone. Really? I don't even know if I got past the first season. Like, for all I know, maybe I got into season 2 or season 3. But I have no way of knowing. Like, it didn't seem like there was like a big series season finale. So I don't know. I don't think so. But who knows? This is more, I think, up my alley, Amy. I think I would enjoy that more. I've not watched Better Call Saul yet. I've watched a few of the new episodes of Atlanta, which I've liked quite a bit. New series 7 of Inside Number 9 is airing, but I can't watch it until it's streaming somewhere in the US, which it's not doing now. So, shit out of luck. I'm shit out of luck. Oh, well then I probably, so here, Colorful Dreams, I probably didn't get to the end of season 1. Series 1, as they would call it. Because there wasn't like a big dramatic conclusion. Where I found out like one of the heist people, one of the reasons that he's so cavalier is because he's got a terminal disease. But he didn't tell anyone about this terminal disease that he has to take injections in his hand for. That's about where I was. So I don't know. I'm lacking direction at the moment. I feel I'm lacking direction. I liked Umbrella Academy, and I watched one season of The Boys, and I kind of dropped out shortly after. Hi, Maddie. How are you doing? Yeah, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? I'm not good at this. Yeah, I apologize. Again, we could talk about the writing contest. We could do that. Have I ever read from Gödel Escherbach's Eternal Golden Braid? Have you ever done that? Look, it's been... This is a mouse did this. Because this book was left in a garage for a long, long time. And something ate away at it. A bunch of the pages, too. I'd be worried if it hadn't been so long since that happened that I'm not concerned about Hunta. Not concerned about the Hunta virus. Yeah, I'm glad Maddie is here too. It's late where Maddie is, isn't it? Glad everyone is safe. Ansel, I don't know you, but hello. So I might as well just do this, right? If anybody has something they want to talk about, feel free to email me here and get a link. Oops, these are all old. I don't have anything new this week. I didn't throw anything new in here. I did a new version of the opening music, but I just want to like kind of change it up from time to time, you know? Ooh. Oh my God. Outstanding student of culinary arts, Smitty Werberman Jensen. My son would love seeing that. He's obsessed with that character. That's really awesome. Oh, and congratulations on moving in with your fiance. That's awesome too. Oh, you came in on a bad week, Ansel. But I appreciate that. I like that. I like that idea. I like turning this into a more ASMR-y kind of thing where I don't have to worry so much about the content. Do I really want to like spend my time complaining about Elon Musk? I do want to a little bit. because there sure are a lot of Musk apologists. And Musk apologists that I am familiar with. And look, I have know a lot of people who drive Teslas. And I guess if you own a Tesla, part of the service contract is you're not allowed to say anything disparaging about Elon Musk. But fuck that guy. And here's why. Well, here, I don't know. Hey, look. I have to turn off my phone. I mean, it does not take much to look at Musk's history, where he came from, what he's actually done. Like, actually done, not said he's done, what he's actually done. And some of the things that he's done, like, say, artificially inflating stock prices so he makes a lot of money, he's done by just saying things. So, and then he, posits himself as, the absolutist free speech guy. Well, of course, he wants the ability to go on Twitter, say, Dogecoin's looking good. And everybody buys Dogecoin. He wants to be able to author his own pump and dumps, which I don't understand. When you get that kind of money, like why does he care about the game anymore? Like I don't get it. Is he that fucking fucked up over Grimes? I don't know. No idea. But sure seems like for someone who claims he only wants to act for the betterment of humanity, he doesn't know how to put his money where his mouth is. He knows how to say he's putting his money where his mouth is, and he knows how to be performative and say, like, supplying ventilators to people who have COVID, supplying a submarine to the cave divers who got stuck, supplying Starlink to Ukraine. A lot of these things that, were very like, Elon Musk is saving the day. But of course, none of those things were actually of much use. Maybe with the exception of Starlink, but he was paid for Starlink. Starlink was not something that he did out of the kindness of his own heart. It's literally paid for by the U.S. government. Regardless of your position on the Ukraine, I guess I just... it's like a fetishization. This is kind of what it feels like to me. It feels like people have to have someone like that. Like there was this vacuum after Steve Jobs died, and it wasn't being filled. Like, I mean, Elon Musk is a strange dude. Appearance-wise, I feel like I don't like saying that, talking about people's appearances, but there's something off about his appearance that maybe, but he has a charisma, partially because of his brand, partially because of his name. The slight foreign accent, there's a kind of otherworldliness to him. He seems like, maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe he's got the line to the Greys, to the giant hive mind orbiting in the Oort cloud. I feel like he's a good bucket for the hopes and dreams of humanity. An easy, like a reverse target for demagoguery. And he certainly uses it. Like he plays the part. He plays the part really well. He's quirky. And, he knows how to poke fun at himself, right? Like, it's important to be a good demagogue. You have to be able to poke fun at yourself. If you have no sense of humor at all, you're not going to be, even Trump could poke fun at himself, right? And maybe the most vain public figure I can name off the top of my head. And even he could poke fun at himself. Although we all know, well, the urban legend is, of course, that he was, the fire under his ass to become president was lit by a joke told at his expense by Obama at the correspondence dinner. I don't know if that's true. 2012, I don't know if that's actually true. Somehow I doubt it. Probably didn't hurt, but he's poked fun at himself, and he actually has a sense of humor. It's not a very good sense of humor, but it is a sense of humor. And Elon Musk has that too. He was on Rick and Morty, for Christ's sake. He appeared in a very witty version of himself. Rick and Morty. Elon Tusk. Very clever. Rick and Morty's finest hour. Changing that M to T. But anyway, so he's a good target for demagoguery, and he does, he plays it to the hilt. And he's doing it right now. Like, he's literally, let's see. Did I just put on airplane mode? Shit. I did. Let's take it off. See what we got. Okay. 3 hours ago, he tweeted, "For Twitter to deserve public trust, it must be politically neutral, which effectively means upsetting the far right and the far left equally." Like, okay, that's totally false. Oops. I mean, first of all, like that's a stupid thing to say. But why is it a stupid thing to say? There's a bunch of reasons why it's a stupid thing to say. But one reason it's stupid is politically neutral. The supposition that if something is politically neutral, it will upset the far right and the far left equally, that's fallacy. That's fallacy. It implies that, like, being apolitical is in the center of the far right and the far left, which isn't true. So just right off the bat, let's see what else we got. What else we got from Elon? Getting pinged here. Something was delivered. What else has he been saying? What has he been up to? Maybe I should follow this guy. I like the cut of his jib. Okay, so he's pinned this, right? By free speech, I simply mean that which matches the law. Okay. So he at least there he is, like, giving some ground on his free speech absolutism, being like, okay, you can't yell fire in a theater, right? I'm against censorship that goes far beyond the law. Okay. So he doesn't think the law protects enough against censorship. If people want less free speech, they will ask the government to pass laws to that effect. Therefore, going beyond the law is contrary to the will of the people. Okay, false. That's a false conclusion. If people want less free speech, they will ask government to pass laws to that effect. Therefore, going beyond the law is contrary to the will of the people. That's not true. That's just not true. That's like, is there something else? So the top two tweets on Elon Musk's account right now are both false. Just wrong. Why does something keep dinging? I keep hearing a ding. I think I'm in silent mode, but let's see. Hold on a moment. Let's see. Give me a moment. Anyway, let me go back now. Okay, so going beyond the law is contrary to the will of the people. is not true. If Twitter is politically neutral, it will upset the far right and the far left equally. Not true. And this is kind of funny. Okay. Truth Social is currently beating Twitter and TikTok on the Apple Store. That's a dumb observation that doesn't say anything. Truth Social is new. One, I don't believe well, it depends on your region for top charts, but people aren't like downloading Twitter for the first time in 2022. People are, I guess, downloading Truth Social. That's a little more disturbing. I mean, Twitter is beating TikTok, which is really kind of pretty interesting. And also, I'm sure people who saw this tweet noticed that. Can we get? Let's see if we can do this. Huh? Come on. Okay. I know that's hard to. Let's see if I can lower my. Let's do that. Oh, look at that, perfect. Ooh, look at that refresh. That sucks. That sucks. Let's not do that. Still pretty bad. But you'll notice Truth Social is an open for Elon. And Twitter is too. So he doesn't have TikTok, but he's got Truth Social. And obviously he has Twitter. What I find more interesting about that is that Twitter is actually beating TikTok. I mean, Twitter's been around a lot longer than TikTok. So it's actually kind of surprising to me that they're doing better in downloads. And then, then he says something funny. He says, Truth Social is a horrible name. And it should be called Trumpet instead. It's funny. See, you can't be a successful demagogue unless there are some elements about you that are likable. Starlink. Oh, and he goes on about like verifying humans. Interesting. You want to verify humans on Twitter. I wonder if Elon Jet is considered human. Let's see here. Okay, free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. No. That's false also, right? I mean, Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. You can't debate on Twitter. You can't even do it. I also want to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating the spam bots, and by that he means Elon Jet, right? And authenticating all humans, and that he also means Elon Jet. Twitter has tremendous potential. Twitter's been around since when? 2009? Something like that? He's working with the company and the community of users to unlock it. He's gonna end up selling verification. He's gonna monetize this in any way he can. I was already like disgusted when Twitter allowed you to use an NFT as your PFP. Here's another just false tweet. I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means. It's not what free speech means. It's nothing to do with that. I also don't like people who like respond to Elon Musk banning them as saying so much for free speech. So I see some elements on both sides of it, right? Like you can ban whoever you want. You're not violating someone's free speech by banning them. Oh, him complaining about Bill Gates shorting Tesla. Like he should talk. Like he's currently under investigation by the SEC for the fucking shady shit that he does to artificially create value. But that's kind of funny. This is kind of funny, though. It's kind of funny. What do you want me to say? That's kind of funny. Look, when you get older, that just kind of happens sometimes. Like even if you're fairly thin. You get a thing there. It's talking about shadow banning. So if the algorithms were open source, whoops. I'm still learning how to use Twitter. Give me a minute. Where is that tweet? Where's the tweet? Making the algorithms open source to increase trust. You know what else making the algorithms open source does? So this is part of the problem. Like I saw someone else said this is not me, but someone else was watching an interview with Elon Musk where he was talking about the edit button and how that would function. And this was in front of a room full of people. And like, had he put any thought into it at all, he could have come up with a decent, what's the equivalent of like unsending an email in Outlook, right? Like there are non-social media solutions for this problem already that exist that I think he knows about. But that wasn't his solution. That he proposed was zeroing out all retweets and likes and just allowing you to edit, and it would just remove all retweets and all likes. So yeah, what are the problems with that? There's a couple of problems with that. Where is the traceability then? Like one of the things, what makes Twitter successful in the degree that it is successful. It is successful. One of the things is being able to like go back and look at old tweets. Go back and look at like people who liked old tweets, like people who maybe have one political affiliation now and maybe had a different political affiliation in the past. You're effectively removing that. And again, this is someone else that said this, not me, but the solution that he created for edits is the same thing as deleting your tweet and making a new tweet. It confers none of the benefits of an edit that would be like from a typo, or maybe you just said something in the heat of the moment and you needed a few minutes to calm down. But just people who think that he's a genius or even has like a keen design thinking mind, I don't get it. Don't get it. We keep going. I mean, look at what happened with like his Hyperloop, right? This thing that was supposed to be revolutionary. And I mean, it's a tunnel. It's a tunnel that's prone to traffic jams that only Teslas can use, right? And he talks about them being immune to weather events. But of course they're not. That's a lie. And strangely enough, he has what is this? Is this a Grimes lyric or something? He has a tweet that says, "And be my love in the rain," right? Ironically, excessive rain, be the downfall of any one of his Hyperloop tunnels. The dude's literally quoting Conan the Barbarian. And then, I mean, he has ideas that are just, he likes to co-opt ideas. Like electric cars are somehow now forever associated with him. If Neuralink ever becomes a reality that catches on, it will be associated with him. These are not ideas that were his or that he created. But he's the dude with the money who can step in and... this is an interesting tweet. It's very much like the tweet he just made. A social media's platform's policies are good if the most extreme 10% on the left and right are equally unhappy. No, that's not right. That's not right. Not all happy families are the same. Jesus. I don't know, some of these I just don't even understand what he's saying here. Weather is fake. I seen Truman Show. Okay. 69.420% of statistics are false. Okay. Yeah, screw this guy. Screw this guy and screw his toadying, sycophantic, sanctimonious, bootlicking, knuckle dragging, asinine. Did I say toadying already? I think it deserves another one. Deserves a second. Second toadying. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Whoa. Sorry, I just gotta.
Warning that Enzim Rashid's report contains some flashing images.
Many of the greats have blessed this iconic venue with their talent.
Oh, bummer. Somebody wrote me from the lead mill in Sheffield, England. Oh, looks like they're going to close down. I'm going to have to talk to that person. But not now. At another time. Uh-oh. This message seems dangerous. Similar messages were used to steal people's personal information. Avoid clicking links, downloading attachments, or replying with personal information. Easy. Sadiq from DMSA. They're a gaming media agency, currently helping a mobile game to promote their games globally. If we're interested in working on the project, don't need to put it on the channel. Best Sadiq, if I can say his last name, Digital Marketing Solutions Asia. Maybe it's Raid Shadow Legends. That'd be neat. Well, you know the answer to this, Q. First of all, I'm not sure how you know it's metal or a bucket. But this is the I Will Solo Her bucket, which I'm actually kind of curious how this sounds. Sounds interesting to me from in here. Let's see. Look, get into this game unless you are willing to make yourself look like a fool. All right, let's see if I tap. Oh, it's too hard. Do you think this could be ASMR? talk about Melania, the blade of Michaela. I don't know. Does that work? Does this work? I think that maybe could work. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that. See how it. Was there like a reverberation effect? Like Karuna's fishbowl? That's correct. Palamine. Did that sound okay? If that sounded okay, I might get more excited about actually doing it. Ooh. Perfect. All right, nobody is emailing in. You don't want me to do all the work. Fine, do all the work. Have I read the Crab Canon from Gödel Escher Bach on stream before? I don't know if I have. Have I explained what the Crab Canon is? I assume if I've read it, that I've explained what it is. So, Douglas Hofstadter wrote this book, Gödel, Escher, Bach, and Eternal Golden Grade. It's one of my favorite books. And it's very meta with the form. It's like House of Leaves, in a way. There is no attempt at like a single narrative going through this. But it is sort of, you know what's weird is like, he wrote another book comparatively recently called I Am a Strange Loop. And on paper, get it? Sounded like a great idea. And I really love this book, so I was really looking forward to I Am a Strange Loop. And I was let down. He's kind of like Harper Lee. He's got one good book in him. The author, Douglas Hofstadter. Well, anybody can call in if you have something you want to talk about. If you're going to call in, we're both going to be like, well, okay, what are we talking about? Then there's no point in doing that. Maddie, you always have to go. But I'm glad you won your award. Can you say what you probably did and I missed it. Can you say what you won for? Like, was it a particular dish? I would love to know that. Or was it a dish? Or was it like a cumulative kind of thing? Maybe it was not a single dish. Oh, hi, Isra. It's been a while. I would like to talk about this. Yes. I would like to. No biggie. Just the top student in the class. No big deal. Hi, Grace. How are you doing? Yeah, let's talk about top surgery. I know very little about it. But I am curious. Oh. Thomas Melatonin. I gotta look this up. All right. I don't think I've read this. Well, I know I haven't. $1997, huh? Oh, this sounds fascinating. And you might actually like it better than Eternal Golden Braid. That's high praise. Now I'm gonna have to look into that. For some reason, I thought he didn't write. I thought he only wrote like a couple of books. I don't know why I think that. In my head, he wrote Eternal Golden Braid, and then taught for a while, and then wrote I Am a Strange Loop. Okay, Q. Well, Q, you don't need to email me. You can just oh, Grace. I want to ask which big C. I mean, there's only one big C, which is horrible. And I hope that it's not that. Shit, that sucks. Fuck. Oh, this is very kind. Yeah, Q, you just the same link. Otherwise, there's like an extra step. I'm happy to send it to you again. There you go. Yeah, Grace, that is, I really hope that it's not that. Eventually, everybody gets it. If you live long enough. Okay, so let's talk with Q about top surgery. All right, well, I sent you the link. Okay, so now you have permission, and now you're just holding everybody up. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Hey, Q.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Even though I know it makes the audio a little worse, but that way I don't have to worry about headphones.
Okay.
Can you say something else real quick? Just fine.
Testing.
Perfect. How are you doing?
Alright, cool. I'm good. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good lately. How's it been going?
Yeah, it's going. Your hair is purple and your shirt is yellow. Those are complementary colors. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
No, it wasn't intentional. I just like this shirt.
Is that a Fallout shirt?
No, it's
No, it's not. Okay.
It's a Hot Topic shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that case. So top surgery.
Yeah.
Why is that on your mind
So
lately?
last week I had a consult about top surgery.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I feel like I have to clarify this. I'm sorry. Grace, I thought you meant cancer.
Oh, yeah. I I I thought COVID. I
Cancer is still the
COVID
big
is
C.
Yeah, COVID has taken over my brain, I think.
Yeah.
That I
Okay.
just
Well, I hope it's
completely
not
forgot.
COVID, but I would much rather have COVID than cancer. But also, sorry, I interrupted you right in the middle of. Why were you thinking about what's got top surgery on your mind?
Yeah, so I just went to a consult to see a surgeon to see if they would be willing to do top surgery for me. So that's what I did last week on Friday. And yeah, the surgeon said they'd be willing to do it. So now I'm just starting the process of getting it approved and everything. Yeah.
Would this be like a first step for you, or is this just what you want?
Could you clarify the question? Like,
Like, well, I guess I don't know. Is this part of a larger suite of things that you want done, or is it solely top surgery is what you want done?
I think eventually I would also get a partial hysterectomy. Um, but other than that, I don't intend to take hormones or anything like that.
And what did they say anything like when it came to? Well, I guess did you like the doctor?
Yeah,
Doctors? Is it more than one? I don't know.
just one surgeon. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, was there anything like they were very? I guess like you kind of see the stereotypical uh, presentation of this. You get doctors who are like trying to talk people out of things or into things, right? Or questioning motives, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. None of that happened.
No, not really. The doctor I picked out is pretty chill. One thing she did ask me though was to describe my gender, and I was like, oh no, am I gonna fail the test? I don't, but
Like describe your gender, like just in words, like
yeah, just
tell me a little bit
just
about your gender.
yeah. That was the question. It was open ended. It was just describe what your gender is like. Um, and yeah, I was so worried that I was gonna answer it wrong somehow.
Did you feel like that was a screening question? Like it was like a like if you would really you think there was a wrong answer to that, or do you think it was just like
I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer to that, but I do think that they're probably looking for certain things, like, they're looking to make sure that you are looking for a neutral or a masculine kind of ideal or something, and also that they're also trying to gauge, your mental state and how sure you are, things like that.
is there a procedure that you have to go through that's like prior to something getting done, or is there any sort of like evaluation that you have to do apart from just this consult?
You do have to get a physical before the surgery. I don't remember how long in advance, but that's once you have the surgery booked. And then for this doctor and for this hospital, I have to get a letter from a therapist. It's like a letter of readiness to state that I am mentally prepared to handle this, essentially.
Does that seem a little weird to you?
Yeah, I mean, it is weird because I know it's considered plastic surgery, and I don't, if it weren't a gender surgery, they wouldn't ask you to get a letter from a therapist
Right,
stating
exactly.
that
Let
you
me also
needed
just
to.
Grace, no, I totally. There's no shame. I could understand why. That, like honestly, like I was like, is it cancer? Is it COVID? And I was erring on the side of the more the worst one, I guess. But I'm just glad that it's. I mean, I'm not glad that you have COVID or might have COVID. But yeah, there's certainly no reason to apologize. So, how long have you been thinking about this? How long have you?
Like actively considering it as a possibility, probably about 6 months, which is when I scheduled the consult. That's how far I had to book out to be seen. But like generally, probably since I was in high school, I just always thought I was not able to get done, or that it would be too dangerous and terrible and all those other things.
Did they? I would assume they had to describe the risks to you, right?
Yeah.
And is it? I mean, did they tell you like what to expect as far as post-surgery pain, or are they going to give you good drugs?
So they said risk of bleeding is like 5%, risk of infections like 3%. They didn't give me too much of a rundown of the pain, but I will have blood drains in my chest, so that'll be part of it. And so they said that for pain management, what they do is they inject a local anesthetic painkiller into your chest that lasts for 3 days. And then they do prescribe you a very small amount of oxycodone to help with the pain. But
That's why you're doing this, isn't it?
no, they don't prescribe you much, and I'm afraid of developing a dependency. So when they said they only want you to really take it for a day, I'm mostly fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, they mostly have you take Tylenol for the pain.
So can I be like sound really stupid here for a minute? I mean,
Yeah, it's fine.
so I assume you know the details about, like, I don't know anything about it except for like generally what it is, what top surgery is, right?
Yeah.
So you would, I imagine, know a lot more about it since you're thinking of going through it. I'm curious, do you know? Oh my God, I'm about to say it. I sound like such an idiot. Wait. Hold on. Let me put this up. If I can find it. Maybe this isn't a dumb question, though. I think it is. And I'm not going to be able to find this thing. It's somewhere in this long list of different... thought I put it at the top. This is riveting. Hold on. Guess what? Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
In what ways does top surgery differ from, if you know, like a double mastectomy? Do you know?
There are a few differences. Most of it is that top surgery is just the, like 99% of the time is just the more gender neutral way to refer to a double mastectomy. Sometimes it's referred to as a gender mastectomy. But also sometimes with top surgery, they will basically reconstruct your nipples and make them look more masculine and attach them back. I don't know how like mastectomies for cis women work in regards to like nipples and stuff like that. I don't know.
I'll bet you also like...
Yeah.
Well, this is also... Well, we got the dumb banner up, so I wonder from an insurance point of view, how like those two different... Oh wait, is Maddie? Scarlett, like I'm assuming this is all out of pocket, right? I'm guessing, based on the crappiness of...
Probably not for me, because I think when Biden took office, he adjusted the American Care Act to have to include trans services. So legally, American healthcare companies have to provide medical treatment for trans issues. My health insurance in particular, I get my health insurance through the marketplace, and my health insurance is one that's called a silent. I don't know exactly, but basically they're silent on trans issues, which means they don't specifically say they don't cover it, but they don't state anything about covering any kind of trans healthcare in any of their documentation. I know because I looked through it.
So
And
it's like a
there's
roll of the
nothing.
dice. Like you might get billed, you might not. You just gotta,
There's no way to like look it up in advance. I mean, I guess I could call them, but they don't tell you anything if you call them, so it doesn't matter. So in the case for me, I have to get this letter from my therapist, and then then they will submit the prior authorization to my health insurance company and see if it gets approved or not. And if it gets denied, the hospital will help me appeal the decision and try to get it covered, essentially.
that's pretty neat that they will advocate for that.
Yeah.
But of course, they know they're probably not going to get paid unless they do. So maybe it's not. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't want to assign
But,
altruistic motives to.
I don't know. I think this surgeon genuinely wants to help trans people. I don't think they're in this profession for the money because they really just want to do what trans people are looking for.
Oh no, I meant more the
Some-
hospital. I would guess.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure the hospital's in it for the profit motive, but that's American healthcare. So, but yeah, I asked the surgeon how much it would cost out of pocket, and she said like 8 or 9,000. But she said that she hasn't had anybody pay for it out of pocket in quite a while. So
I didn't do a spit take. I almost did a spit take. I mean, honestly, that seems. I understand that's a lot of money, but considering what it entails, and I mean that's like the price of a bunch of dental surgery too, right? Like, so that doesn't seem
Right.
that outrageous. And I guess anything that involves, does that include the anesthesia?
I'm not sure because I know anesthesiologists are usually billed separate. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
So I don't know if, yeah, you might get a big surprise from the anesthesiologist. So you had to, when you scheduled, it took you 6 months to actually get in to see the doctor.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because of, that was just scheduling. You don't think that was like a sort of like, okay, well, we'll just, did they know what the appointment was for? Obviously they must have, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
No,
you don't
it's
think
just
that was a proprophylactic move or anything? That was just like,
no.
it
I
was-
don't think it was an intentional barrier. I think it's just that's how high in demand these services are. I mean, it's just one surgeon that works at this hospital that does this that I saw. So she's the only one at that practice.
Here, Isra's has a question for you.
Yeah. So before the consult, I was nervous, but after meeting the doctor and talking to her, I feel a lot better about it. I feel like it's much more doable. Yeah, overall, I just feel better about it. I think it's very much something I can go through with, essentially. Yeah.
And if you, I mean, so you haven't made a final decision, but you're leaning in that direction?
I mean, I've made as much of a final decision as I can make, and now I just
okay.
have to wait on my therapist and my health insurance and everybody else.
You don't think your therapist is not going to give you a hard time, you think?
No, I already talked to her about it.
So it's going to happen.
If my insurance approves it, yeah. If they approve it, it will happen.
Can't they just not, what if they just don't tell you, right? Like, can they do that? Or
What
would
do
you
mean,
just
like
wait
my-
until you got approval? Like, you wouldn't do it unless you know it got approved?
I mean, if it came down to it and my health insurance denied it and we appealed it and they denied it again and there was no hope that they were going to approve it for whatever reason, then I would probably just say, screw this, I'll just pay out of pocket. But
You go, yeah, I'll pay out of pocket. I promise. Bill me. Here's my address. Go ahead, send me that bill.
no, I have no love of medical debt. I'm good. Yeah.
There shouldn't be
I
medical
would
debt. Like, it should be impossible to have medical debt. Like, that is
Yeah.
a
Well,
bizarre concept.
we live in America.
You live in America. Well, I didn't know. I maybe you've mentioned this before, and if you have, forgive me. I didn't know that that this was something that you were, certainly not something you were planned, like, had on the docket, right? But that's, I mean, so it could happen in the next couple months.
Yeah, like soonest would probably be in like 3-4 months. But we'll see. Yeah, and I've kind of been pretty quiet about it. Because I was a lot less sure about it before the consult. So I wasn't really talking about it.
Were you less sure, like, from safety concerns, or you just like kind of, you weren't sure what to expect, if you were going to be comfortable with the doctor, or was it, were the concerns more like, they weren't decision concerns, they weren't concerns or like questions you had to answer about what you wanted to do? It was more, and this is a question, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but it was more about like, is it going to be worth the risks that are associated with it?
Yeah, it was in part, is the risk worth it, and in part, will the surgeon even do it? Because pretty common for top surgeons is to have a BMI restriction on who they will and will not do the surgery on. So, I'm obviously bigger, and that's fine. But if there's a BMI restriction, I wouldn't be able to do it. And I knew I had an idea that this surgeon does not have BMI restrictions, which is exceptionally rare in this practice, in this field. So I had a feeling she would say yes, but I wasn't sure. So that was also a factor.
Do you think that the BMI restrictions are actually just about the health of the patient?
Are they ever? Like, I guess it'll make it a little more difficult to do the surgery, but I don't think it's going to affect recovery enough to matter. Like, in the grand scheme of things, they are going to keep me overnight if I do the surgery, if I get approved. They are going to keep me overnight the first night for observation, but that's because I have sleep apnea, so that's why they're going to.
You have what?
Sleep apnea.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So literally, like, if this would be an outpatient procedure if you didn't have sleep apnea?
Yeah. It's
Wow.
kind of wild, but top surgery is normally you go home same day for most people.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's pretty wild to me too. I'm certainly not going to complain about getting to stay overnight in the hospital and have them watch over me and make sure I'm okay. So.
Here, Grace is saying the BMI is bullshit. You're wrong. Listen to the You're Wrong About podcast about it. Yeah, like I've always wondered, like, I understand, like, if there are certain health concerns, right, that might be cause medical insurance or malpractice rates to go up or something like that. Maybe they're looking out for that. Oh, good night, Lexi. And I thought I saw someone else. Oh, Jeff. Good night, Jeff. I've always wondered about, like, how much of that is gatekeepy, versus based on real data.
Right.
But yeah, I also agree with this, Grace. It seems like, I mean, keep the person overnight. They don't do that for anything anymore. They used to, when you have a child, you'd be in the hospital for a couple days. Not anymore. It's crazy. Are they asking you to do anything to prep for the surgery?
Like before the surgery, I'll have to bathe with antibacterial soap. But
Oh,
that's
no, that's not. I just didn't know
that,
they were.
and yeah, or well, in the physical that I have to get done,
Okay.
and I have to COVID test also
Well, yeah.
beforehand.
Do
Yeah.
you know like your blood pressure and stuff? Are you pretty confident about the physical?
I think the physical will be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like
It'll go all right.
you're 26, 20,
25. Yeah.
25? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do anything you want. Your blood pressure's gonna be fine. Must be nice. Well, I mean, I think it's amazing that you're able. Well, I hope that you're able to do it, right?
Right.
But I think it's pretty cool that you have gotten as far as you have, and that you feel like as confident as you do about it. I'm always so fucking scared of surgery. Like I don't know why. Well, I do know why.
Yeah.
It's because surgery is dangerous.
Right.
But yeah, and then of course every time you have it, then it's like the worst part is the recovery, right? Like it's just like the biggest
Right.
problem with most surgeries seem to be you're very uncomfortable for a while.
Yeah.
Treat them and
Yeah.
street them. An actual wow. That's pretty. I don't know. It's not really very aciplicus. I forget. I don't know how to pronounce that Greek god's name. But anyway, well, Q. I mean, I think that's pretty awesome. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. And thankfully, my mom's pretty supportive of it. She obviously doesn't understand being non-binary and all that stuff, but she's as supportive as she can be. And so when I get the surgery, she's gonna use her week of PTO to take off and help me recover, which I didn't even ask her to do. She just volunteered to do, which is
her
very
her
thoughtful.
week. Does your mother get 1 week of PTO a year?
Yeah, the company she works for. She's only been there for like a year or two.
Yeah, but 1 week.
At the job I work at, I didn't get 2 weeks until I was there for 3 years. So,
Shit.
pretty standard. Yeah.
Maybe I'm forgetting. It seemed low. Like I'm guessing sick days are different. I get a week, and like I'm sick a week out of the year. I would have no vacation if that were the case. Shit, but that's very kind of her.
Yeah.
So she doesn't really understand like the particulars of your situation, and she realizes this is like, although it's the risk is small, there's still a risk involved, right?
Right.
And she is understanding enough that even though you are putting yourself at like physical risk, and she doesn't understand, she doesn't really get why, but she's still supportive enough that she's supporting you and going to take her single week of PTO to watch after you. That's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah.
That's good of your mom. Would you be well, I mean, obviously I'm going to talk to you before then, but I would love to like get like, if you're comfortable with it, to like a how did it go kind of thing too.
Yeah.
If you're,
Like, do you want me to call back in afterward? Like, what do you mean?
well, it's going to be months from now, right? So,
Well, yeah.
I don't know if there's any like I said, I don't know what the pre-op kind of conditions are, if there's anything that they're going to make you do or whatever, but I guess I'm just curious, like, but I don't want to like I don't want to like use you because there's something interesting going on, right? And I just want to know about it, satisfy my own curiosity. But if you're comfortable with talking about it, it would be cool to hear about. Maybe cool is the wrong word. Would be
Interesting.
useful and maybe helpful for
Enlightening.
people who are also thinking about going through it.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, if there was no, if that barrier didn't exist, like if the financial barrier didn't exist, if the psychological barrier didn't exist, like how many more people would do that?
Yeah. Like it's I think more people would do it if it were easier to do, for sure, like in terms of insurance and all of the essentially gatekeeping. It's interesting because like needing a letter from my therapist is part of I don't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's supposed to be like ethical trans healthcare, and I don't know. I like we were talking about. If it were any non-trans related plastic surgery, you wouldn't have to get
Right.
any kind of letter of readiness. So, yeah.
What are your thoughts on? I know there's a lot of like these bills like possibly going through, right? Like, so obviously, right for trans people, puberty is like a really difficult thing, right? And I know people take sort of, I guess, puberty delaying medications so that
Yeah.
they can reach the age basically the age where they're allowed to get surgery
Yeah.
before
Those
they
are
go through puberty.
yeah, those are usually called puberty blockers.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like the camp that's like, oh no, people should not be able to make decisions about their entire life like this before they're 18, right? And then there is, well, this happens to be a thing that like it really makes a difference if you have it at this time versus this time, right? And also, like we're not talking about like just like the first sign that someone is like, I'm not sure, or I'm feeling unsure about this. Like that's not the first step. Is not getting top surgery or whatever. Right? There's a bunch of stuff that happens before then. So I guess what I'm wondering is like from your perspective, is there like should there be a procedure of sort of like intentional friction so that people who go through with the surgery are sure that they're doing as sure as anyone can be about anything that they're doing. They're doing something that they're not going to change their minds on afterwards, versus like the vast benefit. I don't know how effective puberty blockers are. Like, do you know how effective they are? Have you?
I'm not sure. One of my friends, I think, took puberty blockers, but it was late in their puberty, so I don't think it was very effective at that point. But, yeah, I'm not sure how effective they are. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't looked into it. But, I think things like hormones and puberty blockers and anything like that, I really don't know why there needs to be much of a restriction on that. I can understand having more of a restriction on a major surgery. I understand that. But I was actually, Ms. and I were having a conversation recently about, cosmetic surgery, plastic surgery, top surgery specifically. And him and I were talking about how essentially most plastic surgery is you can just get surgery to reverse it if you really decide and change your mind. Which, like, is that ideal? No. But, I mean, most of the stuff is stuff you can undo, right? So, I don't know. I don't think there needs to be as much friction as there is, for sure. I definitely think putting as many barriers as they have, and it just gets I don't foresee it getting better anytime soon with all of these bills being passed.
It seems like
and
it's
stuff
getting
like that.
worse. Yeah. Right.
It is, and it's very interesting that the rallying cries against trans people are the same things people are rallying against the gay movement, in like the 80s and 90s. It's really cyclical. It's the same, like, protect the children and all this kind of, like, rhetoric, and it's really disheartening to see older LGBT people, older queer people take the stance that that are anti-trans or whatever when they went through the same kind of stuff, basically.
Are there prominent figures in the field that you know of who are doing like it's like don't meet your heroes kind of thing, like who are sort of well,
I mean, I don't really know a lot of prominent figures, but I do know it's just a general kind of a thing with not all, but some older queer people that are very much taking the stance of anti-trans, like I said, when they live through the same kind of rhetoric. Yeah.
so if you were 14, right, and you wanted to have top surgery, well, I don't know how that would.
They wouldn't do that. You'd have to at least be 18 before they
Okay.
would do a major surgery like this. Yeah.
And I guess I'm wondering, like, do you think that that's right?
That you'd have to be 18 for a
Yeah.
surgery like that?
Yeah.
No, because you're not fully grown, so I think for in terms of like getting a top surgery, it would make sense to wait until you're 18.
So in a case like
Right.
that, supply the blockers, right?
Right.
And then allow the surgery when they're of age, right? So that,
Right.
yeah. I guess I would tend to agree with you, but then I also just kind of think like my opinion on it doesn't matter. It just seems to me like if there are cases where it's like this surgery is going to be a lot harder and a lot less effective, maybe if we wait until you're 18, and if we did it now, it would actually be much more effective and safer. That's where things like start to get muddy for me. Like, and I think Grace mentioned it here. Was it Grace that mentioned it, or maybe Liam? The guise of like caring, like, or maybe it was Isra. Oh, there you go. Yeah, the whole "Are you sure?" thing is plain old risk management guised as we care about you, right? Like that line between, well, we just want to make sure that you're doing something you're not going to regret, versus, oh gosh, maybe we just put this off as long as we possibly can. We're either putting off the risk onto somebody else, or maybe it's going to be whether it's another doctor, another hospital, or whatever it is, trying to kind of like hot potato it essentially,
Right.
So that's obviously that's disheartening to see, and like you said, like it seems like that's just getting worse. But I guess that's a case where I'd be kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, 14-year-olds were, considered legal, not that long ago, right? So like, there's this sort of like, what sort of decisions? It's almost like there shouldn't just be this one line that's like, okay, you are a non-entity essentially in terms of your own agency as a person until you turn 18. Maybe there are like varying degrees of like, okay, well, you get this amount of autonomy at this age, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
But in a case like this, it seems like there should be some kind of mechanism in place for somebody who is pretty fucking sure that like they're having this dysphoric sensation. They know what they feel that they are, right? And then we're like, no, you got to wait, another 7 years before you can actually do anything about that. Here are some drugs. that'll get you there or whatever. But
Right.
I guess that would make it a lot more complicated. I don't know. I haven't thought it through. I should have put up that this is dumb. This is dumb. I took it down because it was up while you were talking, and I didn't realize that this is dumb banner does not discriminate when I have two people on the screen. I could have moved it over just to be over me. But
Well, I don't really think you've said anything dumb anyway, so I really. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, but that extends beyond trans issues. That's just we should give minors more ability to make their own decisions and choices about their lives and their bodies in general on like some kind of sliding scale basis.
right, this was sort of what I was referring to here. Grace is like,
Yeah.
it seems like we have like these arbitrary ages that we pick, and then obviously there are some things that like where age is really important as a throttling mechanism, but other things where maybe when it comes to like autonomy over oneself,
Yeah.
I mean, people are still people, right? When they're 17. Anyway, yeah, that's I guess a hornet's nest. Okay, well, thank you for calling and talking about this, Q. I know it's well, I don't know if is it something that you feel like are you just like it's cool, no big deal, or is it something that weighs on your mind, or
I mean, I don't know. I'm not too bothered about it. It's like
it doesn't
I'm not
seem like
very
you
sensitive about it.
are. Yeah.
No. I don't know. I mean, maybe I would have been when I was like 16 or 17. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty much like, yeah, whatever at this point. I don't know. Like it's not very personal to me because it's just yeah, it's just at a certain point with like dysphoria, it doesn't even necessarily feel like it's part of you, if that makes sense. Like it just doesn't feel like it's part of my own body. It's not like I like dissociate or anything like that, but I just I don't know. It's like if you wore a wig and you're like, this is not my hair.
Yeah.
You know? It's kind of like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Man, I wonder how you're going to feel afterwards. That's going to be, I mean, it's easy for an outsider, right, to be like, that's going to be so cool, right? And I'm guessing
Yeah.
that's exactly kind of like what you will feel. You'll be like, well, actually, you'll probably be uncomfortable, right? So maybe it won't be like just, yay. But
Yeah. I think once I'm, healed and everything, I think I'm going to be a lot more confident and just comfortable in my own body. It'll be nice to be able to, wear button-up shirts and stuff I can't do right now. So, things like that.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you, Q. Do you want to talk about writing extravaganza?
Yeah, I'd be down to chat about it. Want to.
Why don't I open Discord right now?
Read the message from 2 months ago.
2 months ago? Is it really 2 months ago? Okay, yeah. All right, let me look at this. Can I share this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a secret.
Okay, so this is a DM from Q about. So the writing extravaganza was something that we did last year. We want to do again this year, but with larger prizes, and some slight changes to tweaking the model because there was a few things about last year that were kind of janky, I guess is the best way to describe it. So yeah, I like these. Like a specific phrase in the email title contrast entry, right? Because there were a couple I think that I just totally missed, or didn't get till near the end, or I couldn't find when we were when you were compiling it. Credit in the story as you'd like to be known publicly. That makes sense to me. Standardized formatting. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. And you can just, if you're thinking about doing the printed books for the winners, you'll want to standardize the formatting, at least for that purpose. Right. So.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, I mean, I don't know how much that's going to cost, but it is something I want to look into. Ask for a Google Doc link, which is definitely much easier to do than like all these different ways. I was getting some PDFs and, a bunch of different things before. Deadline in a time zone. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
A PayPal email with the submission. That way I can send it whether there's, that's a good idea too, right? Like that, I totally didn't think about that. And if they're only in it for fun, then I guess they don't include, they say so specifically in the entry.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Just kind of sticking with PayPal is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
And like, look, if you want someone else to get them, like, there were a couple of cases last year where it was like, someone was like, oh, can I give the money to this person or this person? I think it's just like, we can be totally agnostic to the money goes to the PayPal account that is in the submission.
Right.
If that is the person who wrote it, then that's who it goes to. If it's not, then it's not. Yeah, I like all of these. And then then the other rules could, as far as like what type of, what genres we allow or whatever. I think that can be pretty open. I know I said we'd finish, I would get back to you about this by next week. I wanted to maybe spend a little bit of time this weekend thinking about exactly like, because I'd like it to be as open as possible. Kind of as I mentioned before, like I don't want it to be like somebody submits something really short, and they have just as much a chance as someone who spent a month on something. So a way to do that, right? Word count springs to mind.
Right.
But I kind of think it should be shorter than last year. I think last year's were maybe a bit long, or maybe just a shorter minimum. I want a shorter maximum.
Yeah, I would shorten up the minimum and the maximum, maybe.
Yeah, it's easier to read. Like if it takes like an hour and a half to read, that makes it difficult.
Right. For
doing stuff with it on air. But yeah, okay, so I think these are all good ideas. Q. And so for those who don't know, right, the Writing Extravaganza is just everybody writes something, they submit it. The genre is TBD, and then there is, it's essentially a lottery, right? It's just like a lottery for winning cash that gets sent to in this instance, it's going to be a PayPal address that's included in your submission. And the only thing really that nobody's giving up the rights to their stories or anything like that. The only thing that is happening there is, and I even think this can be optional. Like maybe this is something that, maybe there's even like a template, right? Like email address or PayPal address here, are you okay with the story being read out loud on the podcast or whatever? That could all be part of it, right? So we could have people.
What you maybe could do is make like a Google form.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something like that.
And just have people fill it out. Yeah.
Right, as part of the submission. I think that's a good idea. And then the prizes, I'm still thinking like a $500 grand prize winner, and then like a $200, and then 3 $100 winners. That way we get five people win something. Yeah, but none of that's in stone yet. the other thing I wanted to do this weekend was look up like printing costs, because yeah, I know we had talked about like, oh, it'd be really cool to like get some of these printed up in a kind of vanity publishing kind of method, and then send them to the entrance. Right? Anyone who submitted a story, and then maybe like they could be free for anyone who wanted them if they covered shipping and handling or something like that.
Right.
But I got to look into what that's going to cost, because I just don't know offhand. So that I'm going to do this weekend, and then, well, I don't know that I'm going to make a decision on if there's going to be printed books this weekend, but I'll make a decision on the other stuff before then.
Right.
Cool. Okay. Is that good enough? Good.
Yeah, I'd say we made some progress, compared to like the last
Yeah, I
20
think it is
episodes.
kind of expensive. I'm actually having trouble hearing you because there's a water thing got turned on. But thank you for, so I'm going to let you go, Q.
Okay.
But thank you for calling in, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
All right.
See you later.
Bye. So yeah, we'll get the final stuff for that by next week. Final genre, word counts, prizes, dates, but not vanity publishing. But anyway, okay, I'm going to sign off for the night. But thank you all for coming out and talking, and thank you, and thank you. And I will see you all next week. All right, take care.